Welcome. Please take your seats, and those who need interpretation, you can get some headsets from the corner of the hall. And I have the pleasure to see so many people who have gathered here. I can't even say how many are there to follow us digitally, to take a bold jump into the unknown. The organizer is Archimedes, Innova, Estonian Unemployment Insurance Fund, and Association of Career Counselors. What is a career? Is it like a ladder? Is it a path? Is it a hole, a deep and wide hole? What do we need to acquire in the world that is changing rapidly? Career counseling, does it help us to reach a safe haven on unknown islands? How can we provide guidance if we don't have maps of these islands? Or we can make forecasts, we can see visions. However, who knows what really is necessary? Maybe some general competencies, how to manage in a changing times. Future grandmothers and grandfathers probably will be in lifelong learning because our knowledge, our competencies, they age or they acquire a new meaning. And this career service, how should it be organized in the world that is changing ever so rapidly? Is career a ladder, a path, or a hole wide and deep? This poetic introduction from me, because I am an Estonian philologist, but my career has taken me to Tartu, to Educational Renewal Center, and you have here a lot of interesting materials. The first thing, this blue booklet, this should be used for notes because we hear lots of things, but we tend to forget them. But when you write them through, then you can use this booklet. Also, you can get different materials. This is lifelong learning, how to develop your career. This is for your friends. For example, if your foreign friends want to understand what we are doing, you can use this. Then Anthony Mann is going to introduce this material, how to invest into career advice and development, and also some interesting European materials, the freshest news in the world of career, and also different activities that career coordinators have undertaken, and events in 2018. So if you haven't had time to get those materials, you can get them afterwards as well. But as I mentioned, I'm a philologist. But how did my career take me here to moderate this event? And why did I put on this costume? Maybe somebody will recognize the context. This is Kalev 2005 exercising event on the Kalev Stadium. How did I end up there? It is a typical example of lifelong learning because when I was little, a 4-year-old girl, my mother conducted courses to school teachers, kindergarten teachers, and we went along together with my sisters. The lectures weren't that interesting, but exercising and all sorts of handicrafts, these were interesting for us. And there was a mermaid who came from the lake, but she was actually a trainer. And she engaged us in those training sessions. We mimicked frogs, and then I wanted to join a training group myself. And this informal education was very interesting and very important because during the Soviet times, it gave me an example of being October Children Guide. And and then you could see if you like to work with young children. And I think there were some good things in the Soviet system as well. And of course, the influence of my family, because my mother took me with her, but my father actually used to create poetry together with me. And I think this influence of the family, I will come back to it later. But during the Soviet times, this was very important. Acquaintances is also important now. But my mother's friend worked in housing management department, and she invited us to make shows or entertain them. And we could do all kinds of foolish things on the stage. And this was also a career experience. When I turned 15, then the salaries were so small. And then they invited me to conduct training sessions. And as a 15-year-old, well, of course, this is a grand opportunity. And that was a challenge, but I managed fine. And I worked for 10 years as a trainer of a group, and all these experience that you get from your family, different educational groups and activities, acquaintances, this can also influence your later career. But what does a 15-year-old today think? And I would like to invite here Dia Thompson, who is 15, and she's going to tell us about the perspective of a young person today. Good morning, I'm Dia, and I'm 15, and I study in a small school, country school in Tartu County, and I'm about to graduate. And I am expected to make some decisions about my future. I have some plans, but I don't know for sure what to do. Should I proceed in the gymnasium? Then I will have another 3 years to think. I dream of becoming a top scientist, but if that doesn't happen, then I could also be a librarian, also a combat pilot in the defense forces, but physics is not quite my cup of tea. One thing is clear, I don't want to become a doctor, but to be honest, I don't have a clue what people do during the day at work. What do school directors, managers, the headmasters masters do? What does an architect do? I think nobody exactly knows, because headmasters may perform different tasks. I have seen how teachers teach differently, and I have seen how technology changes their work. And we see more and more that people have to compete with robots that are the best of all, the most precise, the most enduring, and the smartest. And when I think about my dreams, what I want to become, then all these jobs could be done by a robot. So what should I do then? If we think further, then what kind of a life will I have at 2075 when I'm 71 years old? Because new things will gain importance. I hope that I will not have experienced war. I hope to enjoy pure nature. I unfortunately think that that will not be possible, because people are people and robots cannot replace human nature. Because I think that today we should teach logical and critical thinking, also citizenship, courage, so that young people would be able to manage in the world full of information, where our consumption is a problem for the planet. That we can use our knowledge not only to do our tests, but to improve the world. I think we need to teach our young people how to be happy. PISA results show that we have a lot of knowledge, but we are unhappy. Why pursue a perfect performance when robots are fully excellent? Instead of demand cramming information and knowledge, we should teach teaching as a competence, so that in his further career, young person should enjoy learning. And then it would be possible that a human being is able to have different jobs during his lifetime, assuming that the jobs exist. Coming back, I don't know what I want to do in the future, but I have competencies that help me manage. I can differentiate important information from unimportant. I can take decisions, I can take responsibility, and I can work in a team. If I now had support that would help me manage in life, then life would be perfect. I would like to wish you a successful conference and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Tia. And so it's quite some ideas to take along. So robots can help us. Yes, there are things. But at the same time, if around the table there were robots, then we start the group work and offer the tasks and problems for robots to resolve, then I think that the outcome would be quite bizarre. And now today, we have organized the conference in such a way that there are presentations and then it's altering the group work around the tables. And during the presentations, you are welcome to put in the questions immediately. So be courageous. And also, we have a summary period before lunch, and then most probably the right questions already fade away. And so please, let's organize our conference today so that it is mostly interactive, and then you could actually enter the address that you could reach in your smartphones. You can have the platform where you could type your questions in. This is a new environment. This is free of charge, and in the class. So it is polev.com. And my name is Maria Jurima, and 580. This is the address you have to enter into your smartphones. At the moment, it's not active yet because Raimo Vuorinen has not presented or made the presentation yet. But as soon as he starts his presentation, for example, then you could enter your question over there, and so the answers would be there. It could be that I use a flip chart as well, writing down your question over there. But in order to have a successful conference today, so please resume the digital page here. It takes some time. So we have a couple of minutes before the next presentation. I will tell you about other things. So during the lunch time, there's also a new address in front of you in the screen where you can actually make a tour through different schools over there. And group works around the tables. We will also collect the summaries from the tables and make a presentation. All your ideas would be useful, and we will communicate the best of them to the relevant authorities. Definitely, we are in an active path of designing our career services, and all the ideas are mostly welcome.